Germany, as we know it today, is a relatively young nation. For centuries, the land that would become Germany was divided into a patchwork of kingdoms, duchies, and principalities. It wasn't until 1871 that these disparate states were unified under Prussian leadership, marking the birth of the German Empire. This newly unified Germany quickly emerged as a major power on the European stage. It experienced rapid industrial harsh penalties on Germany, including significant territorial losses, crippling reparations payments, and strict limitations on its military. Hyperinflation crippled the German economy, wiping out the savings of the middle class and leading to widespread poverty and unemployment. This period of turmoil and instability created a breeding ground for extremism, with both the far left and far right gaining support. It was in this climate of disillusionment and anger that a charismatic and ruthless demagogue named Adolf Hitler would rise to prominence. Adolf Hitler was an Austrian-born veteran of World War I. He joined the small and obscure National Socialist German Workers' Party, better known as the Nazi Party, in 1921. Hitler quickly rose through the ranks of the party, captivating audiences with his fiery rhetoric and promises to restore German greatness. The Nazis capitalized on the economic crisis and social unrest of the Weimar Republic, Germany's fragile democracy established after World War I. The Nazi Party's popularity surged in the early 1930s as Germany grappled with the Great Depression. Through a combination of intimidation, political maneuvering, and the exploitation of a flawed democratic system, Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany in January 1933. Upon becoming Chancellor, Hitler and the Nazi Party moved swiftly to consolidate their power and transform Germany into a totalitarian state. The Reichstag fire in February 1933 was used as a pretext to suspend civil liberties, arrest political opponents, and silence dissent. The Enabling Act, passed by the Reichstag in March 1933, effectively gave Hitler dictatorial powers. The regime systematically dismantled democratic institutions, suppressed freedom of speech and the press, and established a vast propaganda machine. The Nazis targeted and persecuted anyone deemed enemies of the state, including Jews, Roma, LGBTQ+ individuals, and political opponents. Concentration camps were established to imprison and eliminate these perceived enemies, marking the beginning of a systematic campaign of terror and genocide. Under Nazi rule, German society underwent a profound transformation. The regime sought to impose its totalitarian ideology on every aspect of life, from education and culture to the economy and the military. Propaganda was pervasive, glorifying Hitler and the Nazi Party, while promoting a cult of personality around the Führer. Children were indoctrinated from a young age with Nazi ideology, taught to obey the state, revere Hitler, and embrace the ideals of racial purity and Aryan supremacy. The Nazis implemented a vast rearmament program, transforming Germany into a militarized society. While these policies did lead to a reduction in unemployment, they came at a high cost, suppressing individual rights and freedoms and creating a climate of fear and conformity. From the outset, Hitler's foreign policy was driven by expansionist ambitions and a desire to revise the Treaty of Versailles. He believed that Germany needed more living space, Lebensraum, in Eastern Europe. Hitler's early foreign policy successes emboldened him, leading to the remilitarization of the Rhineland in 1936, the annexation of Austria in 1938, and the annexation of the Sudetenland region of Czechoslovakia in 1938. The international community, eager to avoid another devastating war, adopted a policy of appeasement towards Hitler. However, Hitler's appetite for conquest proved insatiable. In September 1939, Germany invaded Poland, marking the beginning of World War II, a global conflict that would claim the lives of tens of millions of people. The Holocaust, the systematic state-sponsored persecution and murder of 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime and its collaborators, stands as one of the darkest chapters in human history. The Nazis viewed Jews as an existential threat to Germany, a parasitic race that needed to be eliminated. The persecution of Jews began with discrimination, humiliation, and violence. As the war progressed, the Nazis escalated their persecution, rounding up Jews from across German-occupied Europe and deporting them to concentration camps and extermination camps. In these camps, prisoners were subjected to unimaginable horrors: starvation, torture, forced labor, and mass murder. The Holocaust stands as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked hatred, prejudice, and the dehumanization of others. World War II, sparked by Hitler's aggression, engulfed the globe in a conflict of unprecedented scale and brutality. The war raged for 6 long years, from 1939 to 1945, leaving an estimated 40 to 85 million people dead. Germany, allied with Italy and Japan, the Axis powers, initially enjoyed stunning military successes, conquering much of Europe and North Africa. However, the tide of the war began to turn in 1941 with Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union and the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, which brought the United States into the war. The Allied powers, led by Great Britain, the United States, and the Soviet Union, fought back against the Axis powers. The war finally came to an end in 1945, with Germany's unconditional surrender in May and Japan's surrender in August, following the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The defeat of Nazi Germany left the country in ruins, both physically and morally. Germany was divided by the victorious Allied powers, with the eastern part of the country falling under Soviet control and the western part occupied by the United States, Great Britain, and France. The Nuremberg trials, held from 1945 to 1949, brought Nazi leaders to justice for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and crimes against peace. Germany embarked on a long and difficult process of denazification, seeking to purge Nazi ideology and influence from all aspects of society. This involved removing former Nazis from positions of power, reforming the education system, and confronting the legacy of the Holocaust. The division of Germany into East and West would define the country's post-war history, leading to the construction of the Berlin Wall and the emergence of 2 German states with very different ideologies and systems of government. The Nazi era stands as a stark warning about the dangers of unchecked nationalism, racism, and totalitarian ideology. The horrors of the Holocaust serve as a chilling reminder of the consequences of hatred, prejudice, and the dehumanization of others. We must be vigilant in defending democratic values, protecting human rights, and combating all forms of intolerance and discrimination. Education plays a crucial role in this endeavor, ensuring that future generations understand the dangers of extremism and the importance of tolerance. Remembrance is essential. We must never forget the victims of Nazi atrocities and honor their memory by fighting against all forms of hatred and injustice. The phrase "never again" must be more than just a slogan. It must be a call to action, a commitment to building a world where such horrors are never repeated. Germany today is a very different country from the one that descended into barbarity under Nazi rule. It is a vibrant democracy, a staunch advocate for human rights, and a leading force for peace and cooperation in Europe and the world. Germany has confronted its past with honesty and courage, acknowledging its responsibility for the crimes of the Nazi regime and working tirelessly to ensure that such atrocities are never repeated. Memorials and museums across Germany stand as powerful reminders of the horrors of the Nazi era, serving as places of remembrance, education, and reflection. Germany has also implemented comprehensive educational programs to teach younger generations about the Holocaust and the dangers of extremism. Germany's journey serves as an inspiration to other nations struggling to come to terms with difficult histories, demonstrating that it is possible to confront the past, learn from it, and emerge stronger and more united on the other side.